Thank you so much, Steph. And here's what we're following today. As mentioned, Toronto Public Health recommending the temporary closure of Donwood Park Public School in Scarborough. And this after 6 people tested positive for COVID-19, 4 of them with a variant of concern.
My understanding is that when they determine it's a variant, they know that it's a variant, and then it takes additional time to confirm exactly what variant that may be, whether it be from the UK or South Africa. They will be doing school-wide testing for those that are interested, so that information will be coming out shortly from Toronto Public Health.
Toronto Public Health saying closing the school, it's a precautionary measure while they complete their investigation and to prevent further spread of this virus. Toronto Public Health has followed up with close contacts, is urging families to get tested. This school will remain closed until further notice, but students are remote learning in the meantime. And we're going to bring you to a live look at the school. It's in the Midland and Lawrence area. It's believed to be the first TDSB school closed due to an outbreak where variants of concern are involved. However, last week, Public Health confirming at least 11 variant cases within Toronto schools and said that number is expected to rise. Well, local restaurants and bars that need information about this year's CafeTO program can get those questions answered in a webinar that's happening today. And it's free. It goes online at 9:30 this morning. Businesses can sign up for this program until March 26th with a second registration window beginning the following day. Now, dependent on public health measures, businesses may be able to expand their patios onto curb lanes and sidewalks by as early as mid-May. Let's get to the vaccination front now. It took just 90 minutes for all appointments to be completely booked as York Region launched its own COVID-19 vaccine portal for residents 80 and older. York Region's medical officer of health telling CityNews reporter Adrian Gabriel they had to hit pause on bookings once those 20,000 spots were spoken for.
We understand that this isn't perfect, but at least the speed is there, and speed seems to trump perfection in this case.
Over 100,000 people tried to get an appointment. A lot of people feeling frustrated, seeing these error messages and the lack of a phone booking option. So what happened? Coming up just after 7 o'clock, we're going to be speaking to Zara Kassam, Vaccine Operations Chief for York Region Public Health, about how day 1 of that rollout went and what changes could be made to improve the program. Meanwhile, Toronto is asking residents to roll up their sleeves. Councillor Joe Cressy announcing details about a neighborhood ambassador program to engage communities that are hesitant about this vaccine. And the goal is to help the city achieve herd immunity by vaccinating over 70% of the population. The 280 neighborhood ambassadors were going to be focusing on the areas hardest hit by the virus. So no surprise here. With the government's new airport restrictions now in effect, Canada's international travel numbers, they are hitting new lows. And here's some of the recent figures from the Canadian Border Service Agency. Around 170,000 people were recorded coming into Canada. This is in late December, early January. That number dropped to just 94,000 during the first 2 weeks of February, and that's about 4 times the decline seen during the same period in both 2019 and 2020. Canada's travel restrictions now requiring travelers to take a COVID-19 test upon arrival and then forking out thousands to isolate in a quarantine hotel, which we know has hit a number of bumps in the road. So we'll continue to talk about that. Now, after both Canada and Mexico requesting that the U.S. share their COVID-19 vaccine supply, the Biden administration has offered an answer, but it's not necessarily the one that we want to hear.
Our focus is on his focus. The administration's focus is on ensuring that every American is vaccinated. And once we accomplish that objective, we're happy to discuss further steps beyond that.
Okay, and that is the U.S. Press Secretary talking about the prospect of sharing supply with neighbors. She says the next step after vaccination is economic recovery, which would allow borders between Canada, the U.S., and Mexico to reopen. According to Bloomberg, the U.S. leading the world in the number of vaccines administered at nearly 77 million. Mexico doling out over 2.4 million. Canada has yet to even hit that 2 million mark. All right, we've got a lot to discuss here on Breakfast Television. Still to come, an update on more reform coming to the city's police force. At 8 o'clock, we're going to be checking in with City News reporter Adrian Gabriel with the latest on strip searches, why the force is trying to do away with what many call a degrading practice. And then coming up next in business, if you want to make a move to Toronto, now's the time as the city's rental market recording another massive drop. We'll talk to Mike Apple next.